Sup fam. So today I'm going to another suggestion I had for a video was to talk about my autism and how that affected me in my youth, and to talk about my high school years. Well, when it comes to autism in my youth and how it affected me, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I mean, beyond the obvious is that I never learned how to socialize, and I'll go on about that more as I talk about my schooling years. I don't know. See, the main thing that gets you recommended in an autism diagnosis is if you're struggling in school, if you're struggling with your grades, because most autists fail in school. I never had the slightest trouble with my grades. I was always a straight A student, no matter the subject, no matter if I even knew what the hell you were talking about, because school was always easy for me because I just memorized everything. So even a physics class where I had no idea what the fuck the teacher was talking about, I just memorized what was in the book and I got good grades, and that was it. So yeah, it was, other than the socializing aspect, which I never learned and I never got any help for. That's where I think autism failed me. Now, I talk about my high school years. I never really talk about it much because high school was utterly pointless. I don't have really any memories. It was a complete waste of 4 years. Really, nothing more than that. So let's talk about my school years up until age 11, 12. I was just a normal kid. I had friends. We played sports together. We played video games together. Then once I got to age 12, 7th, 8th grade, that's when shit started changing. I used to be among more the popular kids, and then suddenly girls started not liking me at all. And dudes who were stupid retards and just garbage, girls started liking them, and they gained in status. It was because of looks. I even understood the lookism aspect as a young boy at 12, 13 years old. I understood that. But where people are wrong, especially dumb bitches like Amanda, saying that I'm just naturally cynical, naturally negative. Bullshit. In high school, I was very, very different than I am now. It really wasn't until age 23 or so. I was a very optimistic young man. I had hope. I genuinely believe, even though I was lookish to some degree back then, I genuinely believed that if I was just a nice person and I worked hard and I did all the right things and I was the good boy that never did drugs or anything, everything would eventually work out. And even though I knew I wasn't the best looking guy, I found value. I was I was 6'2", 6'3" back then. I'm not the ugliest guy. I wasn't bullied compared to some other kids in school. So I just thought okay, well, I mean, I'm not the worst looking, and I'm just gonna be a good guy and everything will work out. So much for that. And talking about my high school experience, first off, my parents chose very poorly the school I went to. My parents forced me to go to a private religious school, St. Mary's. It was in the suburbs. My parents always lived in the city proper of Buffalo. And it was just a terrible decision because this school was very, very socioeconomically divided. That's where all the cliques were formed. So I was naturally just at the bottom of the totem pole. I don't blame my parents for that. My parents had the mindset oh, well, we're just gonna put them among the richer, successful people, and if we do that, things will just work out for him eventually, right? I don't blame them for that mindset, but the problem was that when I went there, at this school, I mean, again, unless you were among the richer kids, you know, the people from the right communities, the faculty, the teachers, like, none of them gave a shit about you. And then that trickled down to, you know, your peers and your classmates. So just to begin with, like, I just had no value, and I wasn't an attractive guy. I was just thrown into, like, nightmare tier difficulty as a young boy with autism. It just wasn't going to work out. I mean, it was just a horrible scenario. And, like, my high school experience was just a complete waste of time. I just went there. I went to all my classes. I got good grades with, like, no effort. I didn't learn, like, anything at all. Like, all my classes were completely pointless. It was just the basic, like, English, math, like, just, like, stupid shit, like calculus and stuff like that has, like, no value. And, like, when you become an adult, like, religion classes, history classes, all of it was fucking worthless. Waste of time. I didn't learn a thing. Like, the things you should learn in high school are, like, how to socialize, how to build a family, how to maintain a budget, like, useful things when you become an adult, and you're not taught that. The education system in the US is fucking garbage. I learned nothing useful. And socializing was very hard. Well, I shouldn't say it was very hard. It was, none of it was meaningful. Like, I had quote-unquote friends. They were just acquaintances, though. Like, as I said before, like, I was on the edge of, like, some of the various cliques. Like, the jock clique. I had a few guys there who were always cool with me, and they would have had my back. And that's also part of the reason why I was never really bullied, was because I did have a few jocks who would have always, you know, had my back, but did any of them actually like me or really want to hang out with me? No. I was just the guy they would call every couple months when they needed, like, an extra body. I was always that dude. And that was a situation for me in, like, the jock clique, and, like, the nerd clique, and, like, the inner city clique, and the poor kids clique. I was always just, like, that dude. I think a lot of guys kind of fall into that range. Yeah, so that was, like, my history with socializing in school. It was just, none of it was meaningful. I didn't learn anything. I have, like, no real memories. Like, the only time I really enjoyed in high school was when I played tennis in spring and summer. But even there, it's not like I had any memories. Like, even the people I played tennis with, it was like, we just played tennis and we didn't really care, and nobody was really, like, friends with each other. It was not like a socializing experience. We just kind of played because we were, like, most people just kind of played because they were bored. Like, most people just played for, like, some kind of like, extracurricular activity to put on their future resumes. Like, that's all it really was. And it was all pointless. Like, nobody wanted to socialize with me because I was low value, and there was just a clear glass ceiling where I was. It was like, unless you're a rich kid, or you're really good looking, or you're like a girl that everyone wants to fuck, there's just a glass ceiling. Like, nobody cares about you. And I don't know what else to say about high school. It was just meaningless. I remember when I went to one of those like sites, like, for, like, reunions and shit, and I looked at the list of classmates I had, St. Mary's class of '98. I looked at them and I could maybe remember 20-25% of the names at all. Most of them I was like, I don't even know who the hell these people were. My class was small. I mean, it was only probably 100, 150 kids. I didn't remember any of them. It was just nothing mattered. Like I had no memorable teachers. I didn't learn anything. I seriously learned absolutely nothing. No long-term memories. I really do not understand like the reformed stoic types and the guys who just like hang on to like every memory of high school like it defined their lives. The only reason I think even it's that I can understand to some level, because when you fall behind in high school, it's hard to recover. You know, as we all say, like there's social benchmarks that, you know, social milestones we have to reach. And when you don't get them in high school, well, now you're behind and it's just hard to recover. And again, when you're an autistic guy like me, who's struggling socially, you know, you just fall behind, and then it's just kind of over. What do you do? So high school for me was just pointless. I mean, I guess the people that like high school bothers them is like the kind of people who were bullied or just had like really bad memories or something. I don't have any of that. Like, it was pointless. Like literally, I just went there every day and it was a waste of time. It's just crazy, like how much time spent and how much money my parents spent, and it was all nothing. It's just crazy. And that's like my formative years, and it's like, you know, and like no girls are interested in me ever. Like if you remember a few years ago, I even wrote a letter to like the one girl in high school, Anne Marie, who I thought might have possibly liked me, and she didn't at all. You know, she was just nice to me, and she was like, "Oh, let's just be friends." She didn't really want to. And even in her letter she wrote to me, like she talked about like the socioeconomic, like we were the poor kids from the city at that school and nobody gave a crap about us. If you remember that letter, she said the same thing I did. So yeah, but I was ugly and not good enough for her, so story of my life. High school, no girls are ever interested in me. Past like age 12, no girls are ever interested in me, so when you know God genetically, there really isn't anything you can do. I don't really have any other memories of school. It was a waste of time. Every bit of it. And even into my college years, like I still had that, like I went to community college. I went to community college, then I briefly went to University of Buffalo, which is where I live now. I went there briefly, got my bachelor's degree, and then I wanted to go for more, but then then I got my job through one of my teachers, and I've gone on about that. And I just kind of said, fuck it. I was making like 40, 50K a year at that point. I didn't care anymore. Because going to a 4-year university when you're an ugly dude sucks. Sucks, mug, daily pain. But, yeah, I mean, it really, even into my college years, like I still had that hope. Like, you know, if I work hard and I do the right things, like it's going to work out eventually. It wasn't until age 23, as I've spoken many times, when I fell into an experiment on a tennis board, role-playing as a girl, role-playing as like a female tennis player, and then like some of the community thought I was a girl, and I got like a bunch of DMs and people interested in me, not just like horny dudes, like people going out of their way to be nice to me. Like I never experienced in my life as, you know, young Todd, like young 6'3", 150 pound, skinny little Todd, like the tennis player. Nobody gave a fuck about me. But like some people know I'm a girl online, and I'm treated way, way better than I ever was. And that is what officially broke me. That was really the main impetus to like realize like no, it's not going to happen. And I had my period in community college when I was 21, and I asked out just like a bunch of girls, because at that point I kind of realized, like, okay, I'm falling behind, I don't know what to do, and like, I'm a good guy, and like, girls should be interested in me, and they weren't. I knew like looks are holding me back, and like my low socioeconomic value was holding me back, but I gotta try. None of them were interested in me. This included like ugly, poor girls, like none of them liked me. I just wasn't good enough. That was probably the first breaking point, but even then I still believed, because I thought I was a good person, it would work out. It wasn't until my role playing online as a girl that just broke my brain forever and just turned me into this unsocial, unmoralistic, just absolute shell of a human being. That broke me. But the thing is, like, that broke me, but that's reality. That's reality. If you're a girl, it's tutorial mode. If you're an attractive guy, like, girls will throw themselves at you. It doesn't matter what you do. You can be a criminal, like the video I made yesterday on Chris Watts. Like, you look like him. Girls will throw themselves at you. Girls will ruin their lives for you. Girls will literally be murdered for you if you're attractive. It really is genetics, and anyone telling you differently, like, just, yeah, I'm just like blocking those people now that like, tell me any other stupid bullshit. I am tired of it, because you know it's wrong, you know it's garbage, and I'm tired of shit about it. So yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's all just so pointless.
All right, made it.
And so what about high school? It was just a waste of time, as I've said probably about 100 times now. Waste of time, waste of resources, waste of money. Nobody cared about me. I was low value, under a glass ceiling that I had no way of breaking. And what do you do?
But I know that you would like to invite Mike. If that was something.
I just really, really wish I was born like attractive or a woman, and like people gave a fuck about me. Yeah, that's just the that is what it is, you know. So that's all. I got little kids like just fucking around by me.